In preparation for today, I asked myself over and over, what can I say to people who have so much to say to me? You know, how do I teach those who teach? How do I reach those who reach? How do I speech those who speech? And while that last one didn't use the proper part of speech, after careful consideration and deep contemplation and lengthy meditation and intense concentration and in-depth conversation, I asked my inner student, what do you do when you don't know the answer to something? Excuse me, does anybody know? You Google it, yes. You Google it, yes. And coming up with the idea to Google it alone generated quite the amount of stress, so after a little bit of rest, this pedagogical, gregarious girl graciously Googled, what should I say to these people about light? After which I realized that not going to school every day for the past 2 months deprived me of my knowledge of what light even is, and in turn, I took another break before asking Siri, what is light? To which she replied with a quote from Wikipedia, of course. And by the way, while I have you, I don't see how that's not a reliable source, because if you scroll to the bottom of the page, there's a list of references to the information given. But I've digressed. So one of the first things I learned about light is its connection with the sun. You know, big yellow thing in the sky. Show of hands if you've heard of it. Oh, by the way, the rest of the speech, I worded it so that I literally cannot continue unless you encourage it. So show of hands if you've heard of it. Perfect. And so the sun is globally recognized as the primary source of light, and thus the primary source of energy. And this is no accessory, but more so a necessity, because your life, breath, and being indefinitely depend on the sun. And this is point number one, that in order for things to grow, they cannot do so without food, water, soil, and the sun. False or true? True. Okay, so that's Wikipedia 1 and 0 for you. And although this list is comprised of a few items, the list would be empty without sunlight, right? Right? Because the water cycle depends on the sun, right? And this may be an oversimplification, but according to Wikipedia, evaporation is triggered by the sun's radiation, and without that, there would be no condensation nor precipitation. So as you can see, in the absence of light, there are limitations on all of Earth's creations. Without light, you wouldn't have access to your food or your food's food, and the success of students revolves around your aptitude for a good attitude, fortitude, and magnitude of gratitude, just like the world revolves around the sun's light. The success of our students revolves around you. And now for point number 2. In my extremely thorough research, I was also enlightened. All right, that went over your head, that's okay. I was also enlightened to the fact that there are many types of light that the human eye cannot see. These types include ultraviolet, infrared, and radio. But the light we can see comes at a certain ratio. Yes, there is a ratio prerequisite for the visible light to have a receivable inflow. And so in order for light to be seen, it must possess a certain energy and frequency. And feel free to fact check me, but regardless of whether Wikipedia is wrong, this is the perfect analogy that if I am a student and I'm not receiving your light, there may be an issue with the frequency and energy. And all that means, for my second point is that if I've set goals for who I want to be after graduating with the class of 2020, I'll need a frequent and energetic light to guide me. And this is point 3, that light is impossible to achieve without currents of magnets and electricity. And this is important for 2 reasons, one being that magnets possess the ability to attract things. And so as guiding lights in your schools, you have a responsibility to have all students enter the building not reluctantly or forcefully, but joyfully. And 2 being that if our school system has a goal for our students, it will not be met unless you charge me. You get it? Because electricity, charge. I wasn't sure. And so what does that mean? This means that regardless of whether I perform at an A or an E, and regardless of whether I go to trade school or a university, and regardless of whether I'm fully abled or have a disability, I need you as a guiding light to charge me, so that finally when I leave my school, I'm a light that someone else can see. Thank you.